Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I believe this video here is going to kick off a new series for the channel. An idea that I've been kind of kicking around for a few years now as a way to bring you more of a shorter format video, shorter in comparison to what my normal videos run, which is usually 30 to 45 minutes or longer. But maybe come out with a midweek video when I have something to share, not an every week thing. But I was thinking about a video called Tool Tuesday. You know, when I get some new tools in, or a new tool or a machine tool accessory, or something that I would like to share with you on the channel and talk about and discuss without necessarily burying it into a Saturday night special video format, or another video where I've shared plenty of things before that is in a build video or a job video that we have people ask about, and I can't remember where some of the content ends up at, you know, so you have to kind of like search for it. But I think with the shipment that I got right here on the forklift, I think this is going to be a great way to start this out, because this is going to be an exciting project right here. Not only do we have an awesome tool here to uncover, we've got something else to go along with it that is going to be, it's going to end up being another build series on the channel here. And I am really excited to get started on it and share that with you. So I'm fortunate enough to be friends with Jason at Fireball Tools for quite a while. And Jason's Fireball tool welding table is what we have here in the shop. We've got some of his welding squares. And I think most of you guys are probably aware of Jason by now and his business, Fireball Tools. And over the past couple of years, 2 or 3 years, actually this started, I think, for Jason back around 2018. Because I was with Jason and Andrew Alexander hanging out at Andrew's shop when Jason was talking to us about, I want to build a vise. And I just thought that was so cool. We were walking around Andrew's shop looking at all these different vices that he has. And Jason took the initiative and the desire and the drive to design his own vise and bring it to market. And he markets this as the best quality vise that you can buy anywhere. And he backs it up with plenty of videos on his YouTube channel of the design and the torture testing of this vise, the Hardtail Vise. Awesome set of videos. I really highly recommend you go check those out if you haven't watched any of them. Not only are they educational, they are very entertaining to see what Jason comes up with to try to break not only his vise, but all these other vices out there that everybody's used to using, right? So I've had a lot of people ask me and make comments because of my, different vices I've installed. You know, we've got the orange vise there. I've got my Starrett vise. We've got a Reed right here. We've got a Wilton here. But a lot of people has asked, like, hey, aren't you going to get one of the Fireball vices? And the answer was always yes, but I'm patiently waiting on it. I was on a waiting list just like everyone else. But I was actually on the waiting list for Jason's USA-made Hardtail Vise, which he has had numerous setbacks in getting the USA-made version of his Hardtail Vise into production. And it's a very expensive endeavor for him to get these vices made here in the USA. And I've talked to him briefly about that, and I understand there is a ton of cost involved to step up production for an item like that that's not produced, not here in the States anyway. So after he launched his Taiwan version of his Hardtail Vise, people started getting them, and I watched his video and listened to his podcast about the difference between the Taiwan made version and the USA made version of his vise. And he assures you and everybody there is not one thing different about these two vices other than the country of origin. You're going to spend a lot more money for the USA made version, but if you get the Taiwan version, you get the same exact vise and the same warranty, the same guarantee from Jason and Fireball Tools. So I told Jason after watching one of his videos here recently, I said, Jason, I absolutely would love to have your USA made Hardtail Vise in here, but I truly think that your Taiwan version is going to be plenty for me, just like anybody else. So how about we just go ahead and get the Taiwan version, since you've got those in stock, and get one and get it mounted up here to go with the Fireball Tools welding table. So that's what we did. Jason packaged the Taiwan version up, but he came up with a great idea and sent some extra parts along with this vise. And that's what we're gonna talk about and show in today's video. So let's go over here to the pallet and start getting it unwrapped and see what Jason has sent. So first of all, I think they packaged it up pretty good. It looks like we have a wooden crate in there to help protect this stuff. So let's get her cut open and see what Jason has sent. Okay, let's take a peek. Oh yeah, there we go. Come on, box. There it is. There it is. So this is my first time seeing the Hardtail Vise in person. I've seen it in many of Jason's videos, and I especially loved watching it when he was at Fab Tech and everybody got to go do the torture test on it. But this is my first time laying eyes on one. It's an amazing vise that he has engineered and developed to bring to market there. Just giving you a peek. We'll get it out of here so that everybody can see it well. But let's go ahead and take a peek at what's in the second side of the box here. Look at that right there. There we have some parts to build our own Hardtail Vise. That is so cool. All of the castings. And I was surprised to see the spindle there as well. So let's just back up a second here and talk about why we have parts for a Hardtail Vise here and how this came about. So when I was talking to Jason here recently about, let's just move forward with my order for the Taiwan made version of the Hardtail Vise, simply because the production for the USA made version is still being pushed out to at least next year, and there's a huge price increase for that as well. I told Jason, I said, I am perfectly happy with the Taiwan version. You have more than proved what kind of quality this vise is, and I think it's going to be just fine. It's good enough for me, good enough for you, for anybody else out there that wants a Hardtail Vise and wants a good quality vise. But Jason had a great idea. He says, all right, we're going to send you the Taiwan version, but how about let's send you the parts for the USA made Hardtail Vise and you machine it yourself and build your own USA made version of the Hardtail Vise. And that is why we have these castings right here. This was Jason's idea and I absolutely loved it. And I was really surprised when he mentioned that too. Jason and I have been friends for quite a while, you know, and it's been awesome working with him and using his tools. I've got his awesome welding table here for the shop. I've got his Fireball tool welding squares, all good quality stuff. And I'm just proud to call Jason a friend. You know, I can call him and we can talk shop and talk about things. And it's always a pleasure because he has such, to me, he has such a brilliant mind, like an inventor. And the way he does his marketing and the videos he creates and all of the things he comes up with to do torture tests is just brilliant to me. So I really appreciated his idea and offer to send me the parts for a vise here and to machine it myself. So I think this is gonna make a really great channel project that's gonna end up being, we're gonna use multiple machines to be able to machine these castings here. We're definitely gonna be using the old G&E shaper to do some work on the stationary jaw and getting that rectangular shape machined in there for the dynamic jaw. There's just gonna be a lot of work that goes into machining this. And I think that's going to present a good opportunity to show people just what it takes to actually machine a vise and bring it to the market. We're not even talking about everything that it took to cast all these parts, all the molds and the patterns that they had to make to be able to cast these and then go to the manufacturing process of machining them all to fit. So since we're doing it for ourselves, it doesn't matter how long we take on it, how many hours we put into it. I think that's going to be a great project. And I can't thank Jason enough for giving me the opportunity to be able to do this and have a fun project here on the channel for building our own made in USA hardtail vise. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting the rest of these parts out of the crate. We'll get them over here on the table so that we can take a good look at everything and definitely check out the hardtail vise. That was truly fun and exciting, pulling all of these parts out of the crate there for our new Fireball vises. Thought I'd give you another quick little look around at the parts here so you can see what they look like. So one of the big differences that you can tell by the made in Taiwan version and the made in USA version there is on, it says Spokane, Washington, hardtail vise. Spokane, Washington there, and then on our USA made version, made in USA. So the castings are different because they have the made in USA on there, cast here in the US, just not machined, with the exception of the nut here, which is going to fit through this box here. So that'll have to be machined and then drilled and tapped in the end there to hold the nut in place. And then all this, the pressure whenever you're running the spindle and applying pressure gets pushed against this here. You can see it right here. And pulled against the body there. One of Jason's design features. The other thing is the dynamic jaw. I like to call it the moving jaw, but the dynamic jaw is a solid box where most of your traditional bench vices, like the reed right here, is open on the bottom. Okay, works perfectly fine like that. I mean, it has for 100 years or more, but sometimes they are prone to start splitting there after a lot of hard use and abuse if people pound on these things. I don't pound on my vices, I don't hammer on them, but they can take a little bit of beating over the years. And the fact is that a lot of vices over the years were put to the work there, put to abuse because of the work that people have to do out in the field. It's easy to look at something that you can see has wear and tear and age on it and say, how could they do that? How could they beat on that? Well, you weren't in their situation where these tools were mounted, 50 to 100 years ago, and seeing what all that they had to work on, what they had to build, take apart, and use the vise for what it was built to do, to hold things. So it's just kind of what you experience with older tools is people back in those older days weren't trying to preserve these things to last 100 or more years. They were using it because it was a tool to be used to help them get their job done. They weren't worried about people collecting them and how much they were going to be worth later in life. They just put them to work. But with saying that, I do take pride in my tools, and I try to take care of all my tools. I don't beat on them and hammer on them, and I try to take care of the things that I have. And that's going to be the same for this vise here. We're definitely going to put it to work. Jason's more than proved the capabilities of what this vise can handle and the abuse that you can put on it if you want to take a workpiece in here and hit it with a sledgehammer hundreds of times. He's proven that this vise will hold up to that kind of abuse. I believe what had broken after many, many hits on that big sledgehammer machine that he had made is the actual base here, the casting here. I believe this is what broke. I think that was it right there. And what he has said is, if you break yours, I can sell you another piece. He sells all these parts here to replace in case you do break yours. Or maybe the spindle breaks on it, or you break your handle. He offers all the parts for these things if you do end up messing them up. A few more parts to go along with the raw castings here. So in this box, we have the rest of the pieces. This is going to be our thrust bearing there for the spindle. Looks like we got 2 of them there. And then these are going to be your locking bolts to hold it down to the base. Those guys right there. All right, we got 2 of those. That's going to be the bolt that's going to hold the swivel onto the bottom of the vise. That's going to go through the bottom of that swivel base there. And then these are the actual clamps that are going to be put inside this guy right there. They're going to be stuck up inside from the bottom just like that. So that's your clamps. That tightens it up, keeps it from rotating. We got some more things. We got the spring there. This is all for the spindle there to get that installed. Here's one of our jaws right here. And then these are most likely going to be another set of jaws. Another one of our, looks like a little barbell. I'm not sure if he just threw an extra one in there. Okay, these are your jaws. Let's see. There's so these are going to be your factory. These are what the vise come with, the serrated jaws. All right. He's got another version that's a smooth jaw with a step milled in the top there so that it creates a parallel. So you can set a square workpiece in there just like you would in a milling vise. And if you're hitting on it, it won't slide down in the jaws. Let's look at these right here. Let's see what these are. I don't know, something's mixed up here, I believe. So here's your other jaw with the parallel. Maybe you just have one. Okay, so you got one jaw there that's got the V milled in it for standing material up vertically. So that's probably right there. Let's look at these guys. Let's see what this is here. Oh, these are going to be your soft jaws, the aluminum soft jaws for the vise. So non-marring, if you want to put these in there and clamp pieces where you're not marring up or putting gouges in your workpiece like the serrated jaw might do. You can put the aluminum in there, and of course these are completely customizable, so we can mill whatever features we might want in this to be able to hold a workpiece in there. That's funny that the aluminum ones are wrapped up in the volatile paper here, and oh, there you go, aluminum jaws. All right, so there's all of our extra pieces that go to the puzzle here of our hardtail vise. All right, let's take a little closer look at the new hardtail here. Give it a spin, see how it feels. First reaction is that is just silky smooth. The movement on the screw right there, you can see just how easy it is to move it with one finger to open and close it. And you can apply as much force as you can by hand on this handle right there, and you're going to get it about as tight as you're ever going to need to be able to hold a workpiece in that. I believe it was at the FabTech show where he had this set up with a load cell and had a little contest to see who could put the most force on this vise. I can't recall the exact number off the top of my head. I want to say it was around 33,000 pounds of force that they were able to apply to this by tightening this by hand. No leverage, no extra leverage other than just grabbing it with the handle and tightening it up. And those videos that Jason has made where he's got a big block of steel in here and he's got a homemade sledgehammer, it's a mechanical sledgehammer that comes in and hits the jaw over and over and over again until something fails. So check those videos out if you haven't watched them. They're extremely entertaining and educational at the same time. These grooves, I believe Jason said that he put in there as a failure point if you overload the jaw here whenever you tighten this up. You should never put a cheater pipe on any of these vise handles to tighten them up. Only apply the force you can by hand when tightening them up there. Our clamps feel nice and smooth there. It's just a good looking vise, man. It really is. I love the color. I love the design features there. This was something here that Jason shows in his test videos on some of the other vices whenever you were applying downforce with the sledge. I think one of those vices, it took one hit, Morgan Milwaukee, I believe, that this cracked and broke off on the very first hit. He's got his design with a lot more material underneath there to support the weight of the jaws for downforce there. So that's another design aspect. Plus with the addition, the way he's got it step milled in here, is that you're using a lot of this body mass here to support downward force on those jaws. My plan is to probably remove the reed since I don't need two big vices here on the table. I think I'm going to take this guy back home and use it in the home shop somewhere. And then we're going to go ahead and keep our Fireball right here. It is designed to mount up to his welding table here. I just kind of eyeballed them, so the base there does mount to the table. So we're just going to move this down and it's going to go right in there. So this is going to be the upcoming project for the channel, and this is going to be exciting looking over all these pieces here. I have not talked to Jason about the steps that, you know, the people that he used, what they go to the machinist. We're just going to kind of think this out on our own terms and figure out what we got to do and make use of all of our machines to machine these guys out. That is one complete casting. So we've got to machine all four sides of this right here, machine the jaw that goes here. We got to machine this area. And then this is what's going to be really exciting, is getting in there and machining the rectangle shape in here with our shaper to fit this guy right there. So we'll get this milled first before we move on to this. We need to machine the base there as well so that it sits nice and flat. This guy right here needs to be faced top and bottom. That looks like a good simple American pacemaker job right there for the base. And then this box here has got to be machined on that end with a counter bore. And then this side will have to be milled and drilled there so that it bolts on to the back of our body right there. A lot of good stuff that we can work on with this. And Jason even suggested, instead of using the screw that he has made here, maybe we make our own screw instead of using that one there. Now, he did say, one of the things that he told me about with this meatball and screw, spindle, is that this is two pieces here and they friction weld these guys together. So that is not one solid piece. Now, if I make one, it's most likely going to be one solid piece if we do that. So we got some time to think if we ought to make our own or just use the one that Jason has had made for his vise here. All right, so that's going to wrap up our very first Tool Tuesday. So big appreciation to Jason for giving me the opportunity to build one of his vices here on the channel. So that's going to be an exciting project. And I'm glad and happy to finally have his hardtail vise here in the shop. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I look forward to bringing you plenty of the project videos of building our USA-made hardtail vise.